This Family Life News podcast is made possible by the support of listeners like you.
It's the Noon Report from Family Life, bringing a Christian worldview to what's happening in New York, Pennsylvania, across the country, and around the world. Weather with Kevin Williams, plus special features and reports with the Family Life News team. Now, here's what's happening.
Good afternoon. Welcome to the broadcast. Pack your bags and grab your tags. Today is the busiest travel day of the year. At the airport, Transportation Secretary Sean Duffy.
We're going to have the busiest Thanksgiving season ever.
More than 50,000 flights will take off and land somewhere in America before this day is done. From the skyways to the highways, reporter Tom Costello keeping an eye on the roads for us today.
90% of Americans who are traveling are going by car, right? That's 73 million Americans on the road. AAA is saying Tuesday and Wednesday afternoon and evening will be the busiest. Then, of course, on Sunday, everybody coming home at once. And we're going to be paying, on average, $3.06 a gallon. That is almost exactly where it was a year ago.
Meteorologist Kevin Williams keeping an eye on a developing storm that could snarl your Turkey Day getaway. Rain will flip to snow late tomorrow, east and south of Lakes Erie and Ontario. Winter storm watches in effect from late Wednesday through Thanksgiving evening. A tornado damaged more than 100 homes yesterday near Houston. Correspondent Priscilla Thompson.
That tornado tore through this neighborhood just ahead of the holiday. Massive trees that fallen onto vehicles, fences. It is just up and down the street. There are debris piles just about everywhere.
This Houstonian saw the funnel cloud touch down near his home.
I see it start spinning, and then I see the spiral coming down, and then stuff just starts flying past my head. A garbage bin flew past me.
No injuries reported, but what a mess there near Houston, Texas today. A peace deal is said to be in the works to wind down the war between Russia and Ukraine. The government in Kyiv agreeing to the framework of a U.S.-crafted ceasefire. Correspondent Holly Williams.
The details of what the U.S. and Ukraine have agreed are unclear, but we do know what the sticking points were. President Trump's 28-point peace plan demanded that Ukraine give up swaths of its territory to Russia, cut the size of its army, and agree to be barred from joining NATO.
Reporter Elizabeth Palmer continues our coverage.
While politicians parley, the war grinds on. A massive Russian drone attack on the Ukrainian city of Kharkiv killed 4 people and injured 17 more, including children.
Last night, a Russian missile slammed into an apartment building in Kyiv, killing at least 7. The Defense Department is looking into alleged misconduct by Arizona Senator Mark Kelly. The retired Navy captain and NASA astronaut is one of 6 Democrats who made a viral video urging members of the military to ignore unlawful orders. Kelly could be called back to active duty so he could be court-martialed. The White House calls what he and the others did reprehensible. Presidential spokeswoman Caroline Leavitt.
You can't have a soldier out on the battlefield or conducting a classified order questioning whether that order is lawful or whether they should follow through.
Retired 4-star Army General Jack Keane.
But these are irresponsible, reckless political leaders. They're absolutely undermining the military chain of command. And who do they think our soldiers are? They're insulting the intelligence of our soldiers.
When asked to name one unlawful order that soldiers have been given, those 6 Democrats who made the video could not name a single one. Attorney General Pam Bondi is appealing a judge's ruling that dismisses the criminal cases against former FBI Director James Comey and New York Attorney General Letitia James. Comey's accused of lying to Congress. James faced mortgage fraud charges.
We'll be taking all available legal action, including an immediate appeal, to hold Letitia James and James Comey accountable for their unlawful unlawful conduct.
A Clinton-appointed judge ruled Monday that the former Trump White House aide Lindsey Halligan was unlawfully appointed prosecutor in these highly charged cases. President Trump is launching a new government effort that would boost U.S. research into artificial intelligence. It's called the Genesis Mission. It's a plan to expand resources to fuel scientific discovery, secure energy dominance, and enhance workplace productivity through the use of AI. New York prosecutors have dismantled a sophisticated porch pirate ring that was operating on Long Island. 14 defendants face 50 felony charges each for allegedly stealing FedEx packages that contained electronics.
They had people who had access to specific tracking routes that FedEx used, and then other runner criminals would go take those packages from victims' porches or from their hands themselves. Once they had these stolen goods, the criminals would then redistribute them both within the U.S. and internationally.
That's Jared Orchacha with CBS out of New York today. An annual White House tradition continues today.
Drumstick, you are hereby pardoned.
Correspondent Ed O'Keefe tells us 2 more turkeys will be saved from the Thanksgiving dinner table this afternoon.
President Trump is set to participate in the pardoning of Gobble and Waddle. They were raised by farmer Travis Pittman from Wayne County, North Carolina, who typically raises flocks of at least 19,000 on his farm for Butterball, the nation's largest turkey producer.
Gobble and Waddle will live out their remaining days at North Carolina State University in Raleigh. Well, just in time for the turkey, Heinz is out with a new turkey gravy in a squeezable bottle, and you can purchase it online. Included in that purchase is a recipe card that Heinz says will help you build the ultimate Thanksgiving leftover sandwich. Still to come on the Noon Report, teen killer granted parole, part-time politicians, and COVID cases are climbing in Pennsylvania.
Good afternoon. I'm Kevin Williams, tracking a very complicated and energetic weather pattern. It spells a variety of weather conditions here over the next several days. I'll spell things out in the forecast coming up in 10.
All right, Kevin, I know a lot of folks are going to want to stick around for that weather report. Let's check the stories making news across New York and Pennsylvania. Victims' rights groups are outraged today over the recent parole of a convicted murderer. This guy killed a babysitter and infant child in Palmyra, New York, 35 years ago. Chad Campbell stabbed to death 15-year-old Cynthia Lewis and 1-year-old Curtis Rizzo in the summer of 1990. He was just 14 at the time. The victims were found behind the Palmyra Macedon Middle School. Campbell, who's now 50, will be released from prison no later than next spring. Pennsylvania politicians are debating whether to move the nation's most expensive full-time legislature to part-time. Democratic Representative Arvind Venkant of Pittsburgh says he's in favor of that.
We look around the country, the effectiveness of our legislature simply does not rate compared to those that have a part-time legislature with a fixed legislative session.
His bill would limit lawmakers in Harrisburg from January to March. Republican Seth Grove used to be a fierce defender of the full-time legislature, but he's not anymore.
We are in the same amount of session days as part-time legislatures, and they're getting more done in their 3-month sessions than we do in a full year.
It would take a constitutional amendment to move the General Assembly to part-time in Pennsylvania. COVID cases are on the rise in Pennsylvania. Those most in danger are seniors 65 and up and those with compromised immune systems as we head into the Thanksgiving holiday. The CDC is advising host families to open windows or use fans to circulate air indoors. Also, if you're sick, please avoid contact with others. A man suspected of shooting and killing 2 of his brothers during a fight on Sunday at a hunting cabin in Allegheny County, New York. That man is now in police custody. This bizarre incident happened in the town of Allen, not far from Angelica. State police say 65 25-year-old Scott Thompson fatally shot both of his brothers, Mark and David, with a rifle.
Staying at this hunting cabin, they've been there for a few days. Alcohol involvement, verbal, domestic between the three of them turns physical, and ultimately Scott ends up taking the life of his two brothers.
Trooper James O'Callahan says Scott Thompson fled the crime scene in the vehicle of one of his brothers. He was arrested in Geneseo. Those brothers were originally from Dansville, New York. Those in need of heating assistance in New York will have to wait a little while longer. The state had originally hoped to open the Home Energy Assistance Program yesterday, but that's not going to happen because of a delay in federal funds. New York hopes to open HEAP the first week of December. That would be next week. A new website helps Pennsylvania students with the college transfer process, which can oftentimes be a difficult task. We get more in this report from Family Life's Brian Query.
On Monday, the state's Department of Education rolled out collegetransfer.pa.gov, a one-stop shop for students at Pennsylvania colleges and universities, including community colleges, who are looking to transfer to an in-state school. On the website, students can enter courses they've already taken and see whether they will transfer to their next school. It's an updated version of the state's former Pennsylvania Transfer Articulation Center. The website also has profiles on Pennsylvania schools and courses, as well as tools to see what schools will accept high school AP credits. Brian Query, Family Life News.
Thank you, Brian. A Central New York college is getting students ready for careers with Micron, which hopes to set up shop soon in that part of the Empire State. Starting next year, Lemoyne College in Syracuse will be offering a Bachelor of Science degree in applied physics. The school says this program will strengthen Lemoyne's position as a key player in emerging careers in engineering as well as semiconductors. Micron's expected to start construction next month on a new semiconductor plant in the town of Clay. A squirrel caused a brownout on Sunday at the Town Square Mall in the village of Vestal, New York. That outage affected tenants near the AMC theaters. NYSEG's Shelby Cohen.
In this case, the squirrel got into some actual equipment, not on top of a transformer or something like that. So he got inside some equipment and bit through some rubber cording.
NYSEG is constructing 18,000 animal guards in that area to prevent outages caused by squirrels or other rascally rodents.
Work like this is exactly what we're doing when we talk about investing in our infrastructure. It's things like animal guards. It's things like tree wire, which not only makes a line more resistant to tree limbs falling on it, but also more ruggedized against animals and gives that extra layer of protection.
Cohen says animal guards have helped reduce outages by 50% the past 5 years at NYSEG. Sports is next. It's the 2-minute drill on the Family Life Noon Report.
Picky, 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 picky. Good afternoon, I'm Randy Snavely. Bob, it was a night full of picks in the Monday Night Football matchup. Brock Purdy picked off 3 times, and Bryce Young tossed 2 INTs. Purdy's 49ers managed to pull out the win over Young's Carolina Panthers 20-9. It was Christian McCaffrey's first game against the team that traded him to San Francisco 3 years ago, and he hurt his former mates. McCaffrey rushed for 89 yards and a touchdown. He also caught 7 passes for 53 yards. The 49ers are now 8-4. The Panthers fall to 6-6. On to the NBA. In a battle against the New York teams, the Knicks got the better of the Nets 113-100. Karl Anthony Towns poured in 37 points and grabbed 12 rebounds. Jalen Brunson chipped in with 27. Noah Clowney at 31 for Brooklyn. Other winners on the hardwood, the Pistons, Raptors, Heat, Nuggets, Trailblazers, Pelicans, Rockets, Warriors, and Kings. The Kings winning in overtime 117-112 against the T-Wolves. On the ice, the Rangers snapped their 4-game losing streak with a 3-2 win over the Blues. Alexis Lafreniere broke a 1-1 tie in the first minute into the third period. And then Adam Enstrom scored the eventual game winner. 8 minutes later, Vincent Trocheck also lit the lamp for the Blue Shirts. The Flyers were in Florida and couldn't get anything going against Tampa Bay. The Lightning's Brandon Hagel, though, did have it going. He scored twice and assisted on Tampa Bay's other goal, 3-0 the final. New Jersey, Washington, Florida, Utah, and L.A. also skated to victories. That is a look at sports.
All right, Randy, thank you very much. And still to come on the Noon Report, talk of peace in Ukraine. Turkey pardon at the White House and living homeless on purpose in Buffalo.
Welcome to Breakpoint, a daily look at an ever-changing culture through the lens of unchanging truth. For the Colson Center, I'm John Stonestreet. Last week, the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services released a follow-up report on the medical dangers posed by transgender so-called therapy on children. This report, which supplements an original that was released in May, comes in at an additional 240 pages. According to the Child and Parents' Rights Campaign, it is, and I quote, the most comprehensive review in the world to date of the evidence and systematic reviews regarding the benefits and harms of treatment for children and adolescents with gender dysphoria, end quote. As the press release put it, and I quote again, the report released through the Office of the Assistant Secretary for Health finds that harms from sex-rejecting procedures, including puberty blockers, cross-sex hormones, and surgical operations, are significant, long-term, and too often ignored or inadequately tracked. Quoting Dr. Brian Christine, the press release continued, "What are we going to tell young people who can't have children because the medical profession stole that from them? Our report is an urgent wake-up call to doctors and parents about the clear dangers of trying to turn girls into boys and vice versa," end quote. The report described how too often medical consultations have been a, and I quote, child-led process in which comprehensive mental health assessments are often minimized or omitted. Some of these assessments were as abrupt as a single 2-hour session, with no other procedure, especially any with consequences as extreme as castration or amputation, would such a brief consultation ever be tolerated. And yet, so many in the medical field went along with this whole illusion, betraying their oaths and suppressing dissent. I quote again, "The voices of whistleblowers and detransitioners have played a critical role in drawing public attention to the risks and harms associated with pediatric medical transition. Their concerns have been discounted, dismissed, or ignored by prominent advocates and practitioners of pediatric medical transition. There's evidence that some medical and mental health associations have suppressed dissent and stifled debate about this issue among their members." As the HHS Secretary RFK put it, that is not medicine, it's malpractice. And it was not isolated to just a few groups or people. Well-respected academics and institutions embraced this trendy ideology that victimized children. Countless parents were asked whether they'd prefer a dead son or a live daughter or vice versa. Some states even removed kids from parents who would not conform. The HHS report reveals that, in fact, it was the states, not the parents, who were abusive. Last year, the Cass report out of the UK declared that medical treatment for gender therapy was built on shaky foundations. Well, this HHS study not only builds on the British report, it goes much further. And its authors include esteemed scientists and scholars like Alex Byrne of MIT, Kathleen McDevitt of the Baylor College of Medicine, and Far Curlin of Duke University. As writer Wesley Yang put it, transgender ideology progressed by a no-debate policy, relying on, and I quote, censorship and punishment of dissent as a first resort in its bid to deploy state and administrative power to mandate compliance with their false dogmas, end quote. But as it turns out, truly following the science has led us back to the truth. And it's essential that we keep telling the truth. This report affirms not only that the truth is on our side, but more importantly, it's on the side of children. For the Colson Center, I'm John Stonestreet with Breakpoint.
Thank you, John. Let's head outside. Kevin Williams.
Here is your family life forecast for this afternoon. Cloudy with occasional rain. High temps 50s. Cloudy tonight and tomorrow with showers. Low tonight 40s. The high tomorrow 50s to near 60, but temperatures plunge later in the day. Then for tomorrow night and Thursday, it'll be windy and cold with areas of heavy lake snow and blowing snow in the snow belts east of Lake Erie and Lake Ontario. Elsewhere across the region for Thanksgiving Day, blustery cold, variable clouds mild sun and snow showers and flurries. High temperatures in the 30s to near 40.
All right, Kevin, we'll check back with you in a few, get a fuller look at that holiday forecast. Lots of moving parts there for sure. This is the Noon Report on Family Life. I'm Bob Price. Here's what's going on Tuesday, the 25th of November. As we mentioned, wicked weather threatening to cause gridlock at the airports on what is traditionally the busiest travel day of the year at the airports. AAA's Monica Nelson says if you're driving to your Thanksgiving destination,
the earlier the better. Do not wait until lunchtime to hit the road.
If you're flying, your best bet is to show up at least 2 hours before your flight. Nearly 82 million of us will be on the go from now through Sunday. A tornado touched down Monday afternoon near Houston, Texas. These Houstonians could not believe what they saw.
Oh, that's crazy.
Every single solitary thing is broken.
The roof just sheared off.
Over 100 homes were damaged or destroyed. That storm, part of the moisture-rich system that's moving east and promising some lake effect for us tomorrow night into Thanksgiving Day. Talk of a peace deal in the works to end the war between Russia and Ukraine. Ukraine has agreed to the framework for a ceasefire. Apparently, Russia has yet to get the message. At least 7 were killed overnight when a Russian missile slammed into an apartment building in the capital city of Kyiv. New fallout over that video from a group of Democrats urging troops to ignore unlawful orders. One of those Democrats, Arizona Senator Mark Kelly, a former Navy captain and NASA astronaut, could be court-martialed. Correspondent Garrett Hake.
Defense Secretary Pete Hegseth announcing an inquiry into the retired Navy captain and astronaut, calling the lawmakers' video, quote, despicable, reckless, and false. The department says it's probing whether the video was intended to interfere with the loyalty, morale, or good order and discipline of the armed forces.
Garrett Hake at the White House today. Attorney General Pam Bondi is appealing a judge's decision to throw out the criminal cases against former FBI Director James Comey and New York Attorney General Letitia James. Comey's accused of lying to Congress. James faced mortgage fraud charges. That Clinton-appointed judge says the Trump administration unlawfully appointed an attorney to prosecute those cases. Comey calls the ruling vindication.
This case mattered to me personally, obviously, but it matters most because a message has to be sent that the President of the United States cannot use the Department of Justice to target his political enemies.
White House Press Secretary Caroline Leavitt.
We believe the attorney in this case, Lindsay Halligan, is not only extremely qualified for this position, but she was, in fact, legally appointed. And I know the Department of Justice will be appealing this in very short order. So maybe James Comey should pump the brakes on his victory lap.
The move is on to make the Pennsylvania state legislature part-time. Right now, it's the most expensive full-time state legislature in the country. The bipartisan effort is underway to have lawmakers convene in Harrisburg from just January to March. It would take a constitutional amendment to make the change. The news is mixed when it comes to the price you'll pay for that Thanksgiving feast on Thursday.
The overall cost of your Thanksgiving feast is down about 5% this year from last, according to the American Farm Bureau. Average turkey costs are down about 16% from 2024. Still, many shoppers are on a strict budget, including Renee Strickland in Jackson, Mississippi.
I haven't clipped coupons or managed my shopping like I have the past 2 years. We definitely have a budget now, where we used to just come here and throw things in the buggy. Now we actually plan and budget.
The price of the Thanksgiving meal fixings is up by more than 30% from a year ago.
Jim Krasula reporting, pardon me, 2 turkeys being pardoned this hour by President Trump in a Rose Garden ceremony. Butterball President Jay John Drain tells us what's next for these lucky birds, Gobble and Waddle.
These turkeys will go back to North Carolina, go back home, and they'll live out their lives at North Carolina State University.
The White House Thanksgiving turkey pardon is a tradition that dates back 36 years only. President George H.W. Bush pardoned the first turkey in 1989. You're tuned in to the Noon Report for Tuesday on Family Life.
carrying on a beloved Thanksgiving week tradition. Welcome back to another edition of Hometown Heroes on Family Life. I'm Mark Webster, and this week's guests are Nate and Alex Johns, sons of Buffalo area pastor Eric Johns of the Buffalo Dream Center, now carrying on their dad's 25-year tradition of spending Thanksgiving week with the homeless on the streets of Buffalo, part of the family's year-round ministry to them, and something his sons have been doing for as long as they can remember.
Well, I mean, we always had the memory of him leaving for homeless week and getting ready, getting all of his stuff by the front door and the sleeping bags and stuff and heading out. And then from a pretty early age, he would take us out for just part of the day, let us go to a soup kitchen on Thanksgiving Day with him. Obviously, we weren't going out the whole week and spending the night, but we were pretty involved from a pretty young age.
Yeah, I agree. Like we just grew up ever since we could remember of helping people in Buffalo. 2 years ago was our first year without my dad. It was interesting. It was also kind of an honor because everyone knows Pastor Eric, the man that lives on the streets with the homeless, where now it's like, oh, you're his sons. And we encountered that a lot that week. Where's your dad? And we're like, oh, we're taking it over. And they were, wow, that's so awesome. It's an honor.
It started off as simply to raise money for Boxes of Love because that's what we do. We give presents to all these kids every year for Christmas that really have nothing. Their family situations are really bad. They don't even have a lot of food in the house. And we were just trying to make Christmas special for these kids through Boxes of Love. It was an idea. Let's go live out on the week for the streets. It'll attract a lot of media attention and we'll be able to raise money for these kids that need presents. But over the years, it's become so much more than that. Now it's the raising awareness for the homeless population. People's lives really have been changed.
A couple of years ago, I met a man. I asked him, why are you out on the streets or why are you in the soup kitchen today? And he just told me, he said, well, my mom died 6 months ago. He goes, then my sister died 2 months after that. And he goes, and I lost my job. And he basically just told me everything hit him at once. And he wasn't addicted to drugs. He didn't have an alcohol problem. He didn't have any criminal background or history or anything. He just simply, life hit him hard. And I got to build a relationship with him and pray with him every time I saw him. And I remember the day where he's like, I got a job, I got an apartment, and his life turned around. And so, but being out there, it really does change your perspective. We've been working in one neighborhood specifically for over 25 years. And there are grown men that know my dad since they were 5 years old. And now there's, young kids looking up to me and know me, and we know their families. And a relationship is how you make an impact in the neighborhood.
When you have those relationships with people, even if they're not coming to church, even if they're not that involved, as soon as something hits them or as soon as they have a hard time, they're like, I can go to the Buffalo Dream Center. And then that opens the door to sharing the love of Jesus with them and just being a bigger part of their lives.
So our goal is to just go into those areas and shine the light of Jesus, love on them. And then, of course, even during this week, our Box of Love does start. We're just getting those bags of groceries ready to give to families, and wrapping gifts starts the next week. And so we got a lot going on this week, not just the homeless week, but we have a lot of our staff back at the church doing a lot of hands-on work, getting ready for Boxes of Love. It's a busy week for sure.
Yeah, it probably started with just a couple hundred families. And now what are we doing, like 4,000 families? 4,000 families will receive groceries and about 3,500 kids will receive presents. So that's definitely a big difference from the first year he started. I definitely can appreciate how lucky I am to have two loving parents that have raised me the right way and shown me Jesus. And I think we see that a lot in our work, working in the inner city, working with the homeless population. You find a lot of young men that did not have a good father figure in their life. Kids need two loving parents in their lives, and I think that's so important for the people that didn't have that and the people that weren't shown that love, that when we do come to them and build these relationships with them, it's amazing how just sitting down and listening to a guy that no one likes him, no one talks to him, that everyone has a problem, just sitting down and listening to him for 10 minutes just changes his whole week, his month, might even change his whole year. Just he's like, wow, someone listened to me, someone was nice to me, someone cared about me. I don't know, I just look at people differently. I look at them more openly hearted. Any opportunity to show somebody some love and show somebody that they matter is just awesome.
I guess similar to Nate is like you look at people differently, and I learned over the years that my dad always taught us, like, you're never too busy to meet a need of someone. And so that goes back to, you see the guy outside of a grocery store asking for money, and you're never too busy to stop and pray with him, ask him what he needs, and if you can meet the need, meet it. I think the appreciation growing up, seeing how, meeting these people, hearing their stories at such a young age, growing up, you realize how fortunate you are for what you have, but also that if you have an abundance, that you can also give. And there's something about just meeting someone's need, where they have a simple need and you're able to put that thing in their hand, or you're able to pray with them, and you can just see the joy come into their life, and honestly, Jesus' light shine in their heart, and it brings a feeling to you that is unexplainable. And just to know that, like, we're out there on the streets and we're raising awareness, but we're also bringing the love of Jesus everywhere we go, is really rewarding.
That's Nate and Alex Johns of the Buffalo Dream Center, carrying on what is now the 27th year of spending Thanksgiving week with the homeless on the streets of Buffalo, a legacy begun by their father, Pastor Eric Johns of the Buffalo Dream Center. Please join us again next time as we search for your home, your town, your hero. It's Hometown Heroes on Family Life.
Thank you, Mark. And what an amazing family, the Johns family in Buffalo, New York. Hometown Heroes comes your way every Tuesday during the Noon Report, or online anytime at Apple Podcasts, Spotify, YouTube, or FamilyLife.org.
Good afternoon. Here is your Family Life regional weather forecast. A very complicated weather pattern is evolving. A front is going to help to deliver some showers over the next 36 hours. And behind the front, temperatures tumble and some lake effect snows will kick in for Thanksgiving Day and beyond in the favorite snow belts. Our call for this afternoon, cloudy with occasional rain, mild, high temps 50s. Cloudy tonight and tomorrow with showers. There could be a rumble of thunder tomorrow. Low tonight 40s, the high tomorrow 50s to near 60, but temperatures plunge later in the day in western New York and northwest Pennsylvania. Then for tomorrow night and Thursday, it'll be windy and cold with areas of heavy lake snow and blowing snow in the snow belts east of Lake Erie and Lake Ontario. Elsewhere across the region for Thanksgiving Day, blustery cold, variable clouds, sun, and snow showers and flurries. High temperatures in the 30s to near 40.
All right, great work as always. Thank you, Kevin. And finally, as we mentioned, today's the busiest day of the year at the airport. Get there early if you're flying. 50,000 flights will be taking off and landing somewhere in this country before the day is out. Brady Tennis says before you go, you should know the rules of the road, so to speak, for bringing food onto airplanes.
The TSA says most Thanksgiving dinner items can pass through checkpoints. They say pack meat, cooked or raw, in your carry-on, as well as pies, brownies, stuffing, and casseroles. They say the only issue really comes with liquid or semi-solid items like gravy or sauce. Those need to be completely frozen at the checkpoint, or they'll make you throw them out. And know that nibbling on a cooked turkey on the plane is kind of frowned upon. I'm Bree Tennis.
Yeah, nobody likes a nibbler, Bree. Thank you very much, and that's our world. The world we live in. Tuesday, November 25th. I'm Bob Price. Family Life News.
You've been listening to the Noon Report, heard weekdays on Family Life. Thank you for listening.
Thank you for listening to this Family Life News podcast. If you've been encouraged by what you've heard, please share it with others and click the subscribe button to automatically receive future episodes. Family Life is a listener-supported ministry. Podcasts like this are made possible by your financial partnership. Find out more at familylife.org.